Well, my dear, this calls for a celebration. It's many years since you invited me to your bedroom.
A bedroom in name only, and I did not invite you, I summoned you.
My dear, a command performance.
You priapic buffoon, Bradley, and take your hand off my wheel.
'Tis the world coming to when a man cannot fondle his own wife's wheels.
If you were not so obsessed with lust and greed, you'd know why I sent for you.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Then you're unaware that our daughter Isabel is about to bring shame and disgrace upon this house?
If you mean she's knocking about with one of the local lads.
No, you don't care.
Let's face it, Mother, it's better than knocking up big taxi fares to Manchester. She's a hot-blooded girl, sprung of hot-blooded loins. She must take her pleasure somewhere.
You're vile, Bradley. She's rolling in the dirt with some subhuman brute. Probably one of your own employees. Does that mean nothing to you?
Ah, you're right. I can't be doing both jobs 100%, so if Isabel's not grumbling, it must be affecting productivity.
Bradley, the situation is more serious than you realise.
You don't mean she'll be bringing a little stranger into the house?
No, she'll be bringing a big stranger into the house. She's talking of marrying him.
Wash your mouth out.
Ah, that pierced the hippopotamus hide of your complacency, didn't it?
He loves me once. He loves me twice. He loves me thrice.
Beginning to wonder about my Uncle Lawrence. Either he's all talk or he's pulling my leg.
I know why you're not talking to me. It's because I've gone up in the world and you think you're not good enough for me now. Well, if only you'd take an interest in me work, like what executives' wives are supposed to. This afternoon, for instance, I'm testing a new secret weapon. It's a revolutionary concept, Mother. The anti-tank boot. Too hard on Mr. Hardacre. He's got his problems just like everybody else. Only the other day I had to tell him about that girl of his, that Isabel. Aye. She's been pipe wrenching with some lad from round here.
You gormless, clueless, drip off a mutt handle.
Hey, we're speaking again.
You flea-brained, second-hand, elastic bandage.
Hey, Mother, it's just like old times.
That lad you have shot, 'tis your own son, 'tis our Jack.
Our Jack? With Miss Isabel? Is he trying to get me in trouble?
Get you in trouble?
I woman, me. Just when I'm getting on near enough a made man. And here's our Jack undoing everything for one moment of pleasure with Miss Isabel. He's always had it in for me.
How can you say that? He's your own son.
Here's your son, is what you've made him. I thank God for our Matt. He'll not lose his head over a woman. He'll not queer his father's pitch.
To be or not to be? That is the question. It all depends. That is the answer. Oh, Matthew, who can plumb your mind? It's all too deep for me. Oh, it's Matthew! And with my brother Morris. You mustn't find me weeping.
Well, here we are, Matt. What do you think of it? Couldn't you write simply beautiful poetry in a place like this?
What is this place, Mr. Morris?
Why, it's the old summer house, Matt. It's one of Hesketh's very favourite haunts, and I know why. You come here to get away from the telephone, don't you? Reclusive old bear.
I've never even been in the grounds of the Hall before, you see.
Oh, not even when you were a little boy? To steal apples?
What? No fear. Not after them two big mastiffs of your father's got hold of little Tommy Hanson. He only climbed in to get his ball back.
Persistent little devil.
There was a time I might have thought to ask a young lady to a place like this. If I'd had a place like this. Or if I'd had a young lady.
Don't say Lady in front of Hesketh, he gets upset.
Aye. This feels like it could be a very fine place for poetry writing. In fact, I can feel one welling up now.
One has to put up with certain things, Hesketh, when one is wooing.
My feet ache, and a drowsy numbness pains my elbow, as though of dandelion and burdock I had drunk, or ate me chips too quick, or emptied some dull oil lamp down the drain. Or been sent by me mam to buy a wick. What do you think, Mr. Morris?
To be quite honest, Matt, I think it lacks polish. But then that's exactly what you'd acquire at Cambridge. Or through your intercourse with my chums, Kim and Guy and Donald.
I'd like to come to Cambridge with you, Mr. Morris. I really would, but I can't. I wouldn't have no brass.
You mean money? But you're a poet, Matt. You're above material things like money. Besides, I've got quite enough for both of us.
Well, I couldn't take it from you, Mr. Morris.
Well, we could come to some arrangement. Yes. You must think of it as a scholarship. After all, you'd be learning so much.
Mr. Morris, I accept your offer on behalf of poetry in general and my own genius in particular. You shall be my patron.
I'm so pleased. I'll walk you down to that dark, satanic mill, and you can hand in your notice this very afternoon.
Dark satanic miller, Mr. Morris. You know, I might be able to work that into a poem.
Oh, Matthew, your precious pencil. Oh, it isn't his after all. It belongs to somebody whose initials are HB.
Father, I have other things to do. It's not my business to discover the identity of Isabel's lovers.
This latest one is the one I want, so we can crush him.
But why, Father, why?
He's not content to serve his turn and touch his forelock and be discarded. He's trying to do the dirty on her.
You mean?
Yes, he wants to marry her. And I'm one fellows won't fall for that trick. I pulled it on your mother.
Father, there's no need to worry about Isabel. Look how she is with her horses. She rides them hard, and the first time they refuse a jump, she saddles another.
Well, she's not going to saddle me with some jumped-up Johnny Brainless who thinks there's room at the top.
Forget Isabel, forget this man, Father. You're forgetting we have a strike on our hands, and that all our hands are on strike.
Austin, I'll put an end to this strike today.
Excellent, Father. At last you're yourself again. What's it to be, eh? The busload of blacklegs from Cheltenham?
No.
And is Plan B transfer production to Hong
No.
Kong? You're right. You're absolutely right. Mass evictions, throw them on the streets, is the kindest way in the long run.
I like your spirit, but it's no good. We've got to talk to them.
Talk? Talk, it's madness.
No, it's the modern way. You get down to the strike committee and tell them I'm ready to meet them for full, frank discussions.
When I'm in the saddle, there'll be less of this current business and more of the stick.
You sent for me, Father?
Oh, Iris. I've been thinking. I've been very selfish, trying to keep my little girl to myself forever. You're a grown woman now. It's time you were wed.
Oh, Father, you've seen into my secret heart.
Aye, lass, if only we could find the right man for you.
Oh, Father, you need look no further. I have found him. He's a wonderful man, and my soul yearns to be his bride.
Aye, lass, that's capital.
You'll love Jack.
Jack, eh?
Why, yes. He's so like you. Perhaps that's why I love him so. He's so strong and masterful. And when he wants something, why, he takes it.
So my little girl will soon be changing her name from Hardacre to... what was it?
Fairchild. I'll be Mrs. Jack Fairchild.
Fairchild? Jack Fairchild? You going to marry him?
Oh, yes, Father, yes, I love him, passionately.
Tempestuously?
Recklessly.
Insanely?
Wildly.
Daily?
Well, sometimes he works awkward shifts. The point is, Father, I love him deeply and truly and want to be with him always.
Come here, girl. Look out there, beyond the spacious, well-manicured lawns and walks of this house. What do you see? The huddled hovels and the cringing chimney stacks of Ottery. Love, my dear, was invented for them as live down there. A consolation prize for the losers in life's great race. You're above all that nonsense. You can stoop down and indulge your passions as you please. But marriage is a different business altogether.
But, Father...
Nay, lass, you listen to me. You'll be married, aye, and that soon, to the lad I'd choose for you.
Never! I love Jack!
Do you defy me, girl?
Yes, Father. I defy you in the name of love. What will you do? Break me? As you break a rebellious horse?
Nay, lass, you're my own flesh and blood. I'll not break thee. I'll break him. And if I cannot break him, then like a stallion, I'll geld him. Either way, lass, he'll be no use to thee.
Meeting call to order. I'll ask Dr. Macduff to give us his medical report.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Well, I'm afraid it's a grim picture. Of the 120 men on strike, 87 are down with scurvy, 13 are up all the time with dysentery, 47 have come out in boils, and 33 have come out in sympathy. We ran out of cod liver oil about 10 days ago, and as you know, I made an appeal for goldfish, but it's a long, hard, and tedious work pressing the oil from them, and I might say I've ruined a perfectly good pair of brogues in the process.
Well, beaten, I tell you.
Pull yourself together, man.
No, you've led us into a veil of tears, Agnes Fairchild. You told us that Hardacre would be brought to his knees.
And so he will if we can just hold on, suffer though we may. He must see it sooner or later. He mun have talks.
Hey, Job's right. Hardacre will never talk.
You were all for the strike, young Scargill.
I still am. But I say this. Hardacre will never talk. There's only one language he understands.
I'll take that gun, young Scargill.
There's a bullet for Hardacre and one for every one of his brood, I tell you.
Now, this is what comes of reading Bernard Shaw. I tell you, it's not our English way. It's a Dago's trick. Why, you take that. Let that be a lesson to you.
You may knock me down, Jack Fairchild, but you're doing the boss's work. You think you can reason with the Bradley Hardacres of this world? I tell you, he'll never talk. Never.
I have a message from my father. He is willing to talk.
Tell him to come, then.
Till this afternoon, then.
Reason gets results. There's no call for violence. Get out! Out!
There's nothing wrong with me! We'll let Dr. Macduff be the judge of that. Oh! He'll be here in a moment. That will be him now. That will be him now. Come in.
I came as soon as I got your call, Lady Patience. Is it the usual trouble?
No, there is your patient, Doctor. The girl's brain is quite turned by some fever in the blood.
What are the symptoms?
Delusions, ravings, absurd desires.
Mother thinks I'm mad because I have the normal, healthy desire of a normal, healthy young woman.
Aye, you were quite right to call me, Lady Patience. You see, lassie, these so-called normal desires are very often the first symptoms of moral decay and the beginning of the slippery slope into the carnal abyss.
How can you say that?
Because I have made it my business to study these things, girl. I have books and pictures at home I could show you.
What can you do for her, Doctor?
We must subdue the flesh. There's only the one thing to be done. The protuberant parts of the body must be bound, tightly bound. Aye, when the flesh is proud, it is a tyrant and it must be humbled. In the meantime, we'd best have that blouse off and have a look at you.
Ow! Oh, you cannot understand, any of you. You do not know what love means.
Hey! If it's a second opinion you want, I could come back tomorrow.
Ah, well, Lady Patience. Seems there's nothing I can do here.
Oh, now, don't be so hasty, Doctor. These books and pictures you mentioned, if I'm to help my daughter, shouldn't I study them with you?
It's madness, moonshine. You can't have a bigger slice of the national cake without building a bigger oven.
Aye, but if you can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen.
My father's right. You cannot break an omelette without making eggs.
But you're asking us to lay all our eggs in one basket.
You're killing the goose that lays the golden egg, and that goose is living in cloud cuckoo land.
Jack, will you tell me something?
Aye, lass, I do love thee, yes.
No, it's not that. My question is this. Why do you always wear your cap? Even when we...
Well, you never know when it'll come on to rain. No.
Don't play with me, Jack. I sense that it has some deep meaning for you.
Aye, lass. Well, I'll tell thee. 'Tis to do with doffing.
Doffing, Jack?
Aye, lass. This is Keir Hardy's cap I wear. And I've sworn a vow I'll never doff to an Hardacre as long as I live.
Not even for me, Jack?
Not even for thee.
Well, does that mean I'll never see you completely naked?
So don't fret, lass. Though there be an Hardacre now, I mean to make thee a fair child. Then I'll doff me cap to thee.
Oh, Jack, you make me so happy.
Aye, lass, and I'd like to oblige thee again, but it's time I were getting back to work.
Oh, Jack, Jack, my father will never agree to our marriage. I just can't wait to see you without your cab. Let's elope, right now.
But I'm due down pit.
You need never go down that pit again, Jack. I have money.
Nay, lass, I mun go down, for I've said I'll stand George Gormley's shift on number 3 level. For his cough's gone bad, and him with mouths to feed.
Oh, I'll never understand you men. You and your absurd loyalties to each other. Tonight, then.
Aye, lass, tonight. Meet me at Pithead when I come off my shift.
Oh, yes, Jack. Your very last shift down that horrid mine. And meanwhile, I'll ride over to Bishop's Tippings and get the special license for our wedding. We shall be joined tonight, Jack.
Aye, lass. Tonight.
One way or another, that cap of yours is coming off.
No. You see what the feeling is, Bradley Hardacre? They'll not go back. If there's to be silent explosions, we must have a hooter to let women folk know when there's been a disaster.
All right, damn it, I give in. You can have your hooter.
But, Father, it's madness.
Nay, lad, 'tis useless to spend your strength swimming against the tide of history.
You mean you're conceding the entire claim?
Aye, woman. But let me ask you one question. What good's your hooter to them as is deaf? Well, I've got the answer to that. And it's no common or garden tuppeny halfpenny hooter neither. When Bradley Hardacre sets up an hooter, he sets up the best. What I'm giving you is a silent hooter. A new technology of silent explosives demands a new technology hooter. And this hooter is ecologically sound, pollution-free, and uses no fossil fuel energy.
Hey, greatly, a new technology.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, as luck would have it, I happen to have a scale working model of the new prototype silent hooter about my person. Now, the technically minded among you will appreciate that this can be operated by one man or even an intelligent boy. But, let this be understood. As I've borne the development costs, I expect his wages to come out of union funds.
Oh, that's very fair. Aye.
Do we have a deal, then? Do the men go back?
Yes. They go back. The strike is over.
There's one matter outstanding. We'll never go back, as long as George Fairchild has a job in that works.
Aye, yes,
No.
fine.
I'm sorry, Agnes, but we'll not work alongside a blackleg.
No, no.
'Tis bitter bread. But I mun eat it.
I will never dismiss a man who has served me loyally.
When the strike goes on.
However, the situation does not arise since George Fairchild is no longer employed at the munition works due to an unfortunate accident.
Well, that's all right, then.
3 cheers for the Hardacre Works. Hip, hip. Hey! Hip, hip. Hey! Hip, hip. Hey!
Is afternoon shift down the pit yet?
Why, yes, Father.
When we leave here, send word to the mine. I want Victoria's shaft flooded.
Well, there's a shift working at number 3 level, Father.
Never mind that. Just make sure they do it.
Very well. By the way, I didn't know George Fairchild had an accident.
How could you know? It doesn't happen till 3:30.
hasn't worked.
Oh, Matthew, you're going away from me, and I love you so much.
Why? Miss Charlotte.
Hi, Matthew. What are you doing here?
I was just looking for my pencil.
Oh, so it is yours. Could I keep this little pencil? It would mean so much to me.
Oh, I'm sorry, my mother's still got 3 penments to make on it. Oh, go on then. Mr. Morris says he's got a case full of pencils waiting for me in his rooms at Cambridge.
Then it's true. The die is cast. You are going to Cambridge with my brother.
Yes. Are you glad for me?
Do you want me to be glad for you?
I'd be glad to think that you'd be glad if I was glad.
And are you?
Am I what?
Then you are glad. Then I'm glad too, because you're so gifted, and I realize there's nothing to keep you here.
Miss Charlotte,
Yes, Matt.
Come into the garden, Matt. Anyone for Tennyson?
Oh, yes. I'm just coming, Mr. Morris. So it's goodbye then, Miss Charlotte.
Matthew, you've gone. And all I have left is this. And I shall often wonder how many beautiful poems would the lead in your pencil have been good for had you stayed.
Stand aside there. Let me pass. What's going on here?
Hast thou not heard? There's been disaster down here.
A disaster.
Aye.
Is anyone hurt?
There's men trapped down the pit. They do say Jack Fairchild's amongst them. But they've sent for his mother. Why, here she is now.
Oh, let me through.
They're not letting anyone past gates. I'm on way, Agnes.
You harlot. You slut. You're like the rest of your accursed family. Everything you touch is doomed. But could you not keep your hands off my Jack, my baby boy?
Oh, Mother, for I must call you that now. Do not hate me, for we're to be married.
Jack and
Get back to your work. There'll be no news for hours yet.
What about our sons, Bradley Hardiker?
Everything's been done that's humanly possible, short of risking damage to valuable equipment. Why, Isabel, what are you doing here among this rabble? Open the gate and let my daughter through.
No, Father. The man I love is down that pit. I belong on this side of your gates now.
You mean?
Yes, Father. That's exactly what I mean.